People get into scenarios. They just hear one thing or UFO, still trying to prove UFOs are flying over us. If you can't see one or find one now, you might not ever. You're just too lazy to go outside and watch the sky for a couple hours. I'm putting a book out. I don't know how I'm going to sell it or whatever, but how to see a UFO if you're really interested. But then again, do you want to meet an alien? Take all the abductee stories, put them together. All the experiences stories and put them together. What did it do for the human race? I'll tell you from direct experiences that I had with people that I know personally that lost their children through abduction and things like that. It's not pleasant. It's like, some people make it sound good, well, they're going to create a whole city for me and then I'll be able to go to that city. Really? No, you're not. Are they going to be like you? Of course not. If you think anybody on this planet's that important to create a king or a leader for another alien race, think again. Why would they want to clone you? What about you would be worth cloning? That's all you hear now. Well, they're a walk-in, they're a half, they're this, they're a hybrid. Really? And they're human now? And they look human, they act human, so they're hybrids? Prove they're hybrid. The stories are coming out right and left. Books are coming out about these people that are hybrids and this, that. And read the stories. People are meeting with them. How much of everything we hear is a program, just like the Matrix? How much of it is it real? I'm not saying aliens aren't real, because they are. But all the things happening with them and around them and what they're supposed to be doing with us and us with them and all that, how much of that is real? And if it's real, really important to who? To keeping the alien race from blowing up the planet, taking over the planet? I would say that would be one of the major concerns if I was aware and had a brain. Why the government built all these underground cities and why they're spending $5 trillion a year on weapons and stuff. It all makes sense if you have a brain to piece it together. Sorry, most people aren't willing to use their brain to think any further than what they're programmed to watch TV, go to work, come home, and party. Whatever. Can't wait till the weekend to go out Friday night. Family life's deteriorated to the max. And how many families go out and do things together on a daily basis? Rich people can, more so than middle class or poor people. And then they get lost in their space and they don't even care about anything else. I had 2 millionaire girlfriends. I lived in a millionaire's house, billionaire's house as well. And what they do and how they live would blow you away. Not in a good way. Because when you go in these people's houses, you got to live by their rules. Which I did. I'm trying to get used to people's attitudes when you have money and what you can buy, what you have to do, and things like that. Morals don't exist, sadly to say. But when we get into this whole thing about what you do with your life, what are you doing? I said last show that I did was opening your eyes for the first time. Well, this is kind of like following that through. When you open your eyes and you see what's going on, what do you do? Turn your head, stick your fingers in your ears, close your eyes. Whatever makes you feel good, I guess. And what makes you feel good? So the level that we give to the body, the experience that the body feels and goes through, is basically what we give to everything we do in our life. Weightlifters have to get satisfaction out of the pain to get to where they are. So go to a sex club, go to we'll go there. It's the abuse and pain with sex mixed together, which stems from abuse. Now go into people that have no feelings outside of watching TV and playing games. Where is their attention? Where's their emotional body? The excitement from killing an imaginary computer creature or destroying a village on a computer? Is that like the subconscious mind of reacting what you did in other lifetimes? Realize, for a very, very long time, the human race has been mass killers. Fighters, with every kind of weapon under the sun that you could think of until what we have now. The weapons are so horrible and dangerous. The government doesn't even talk about it, and they won't. Chemical warfare is beyond the concept of reality of what we perceive it to be. I can go on about a weapon that I know existed when I was, 18 years old, 17 years old. Guns that you could shoot people and knock them down on the ground and keep them unconscious for 24 hours. Isn't that a little better than killing them? But see, war is not about saving people. Saving your people, but killing everybody else on the other side. Or taking out as many people as you can. You know, I always say, let the two presidents and two leaders fight it out. And just make sure you got a strong leader. Just like they did in the old days. I mean, the king and his power, the queen. I mean, when you create an army, who's in charge of the army? How strong are they? They're the ones that should be fighting, not the children. It's like raising a family and having them go out and beat up and create the wars for you. It's not fair. It's not right. It's super crazy. So back to Hawaii. Here in Hawaii, most people, when you go to town, here's the funny thing. The health food store is probably the biggest place for people to meet people. Because everybody's claiming to be a health nut. Or it's a place where to get food that's already cooked. And a lot of these people live off the grid, meaning they don't have running water. Alright, means they don't take a shower much. If they have water, it's a catchment tank, which means a swimming pool in their backyard, which pumps into their house, and that's where they get their water from. So it's not really clean. Sure, rich people put big purifying systems on that water to run it through their house, but most people can't afford that either. So they live in these houses with no windows. Sometimes they have screens. It's kind of living in backwards time frames to me. Off the grid means you're off of power and you live with nature. What about bathrooms? Do you imagine if you don't have a flushing toilet that flushes the stuff somewhere? Where do you think things go? In the ground? In a container? For how long? And how long does it stay there? All those kind of questions. Most people don't care. As long as they can buy a house and put a septic tank in the ground or whatever to keep their sewerage somewhere, it's living backwards. Now, what do they wear? What do they do to make money? Most of these people don't have much money. They live on certain funds. I don't know how much work they do. A lot of places here have people work on a farm 20 hours a week and they get free rent to do the farming for the farm for 20 hours, and they'll give them free rent. But they still need money for clothes and food. Now, getting to clothes. Buying clothes in Hawaii is really pitiful. It's not like New York City. You can't get what you want here. You're forced to accept a style. And if you buy clothes online or something from another part of the world or the United States, it's different. But if you buy clothes in any store, Walmart, Sears, and all those kind of stores, you're stuck to a limited style, which is pretty sad in most cases. From socks to underwear to shirts, t-shirts, shorts, and things like that, bathing suits, all that's limited to a programmed value of what's accepted or what's not accepted. Now, they have nude beaches here. It's not broadcasted or bragged about because drugs usually go around on them as well. But on the other hand, What do people wear when they go to the health food store? As little as they can. The average person that'll walk in a health food store has this piece of material called the dress. Maybe once in a while they have a bra on or underwear. Guys have their pants hanging down so their butt's out. I mean, I was in the health food store, and this is no lie. And guess what was hanging out of his pants as well? So, yeah, I don't want to get into it, but that's how bad it is. So, compounding in, these people, the shower they take is if they go surfing and they're in the water, and there's a cold shower usually by some of the surfing places or beaches, where you at least take a shower. But when they go home, there's no shower. They got a barrel of water, a couple jugs of water. So they eat out. So the health food place is where everybody meets and hangs out. But it's kind of like going into the jungle. Imagine being with somebody that just walked through the jungle for 2 days and you're in the store with them. I find it disgusting. And then the idea of hair. Hair doesn't bother me on people, especially women, either. But most men get offended by it or hate it or can't stand it. The only time I thought it was kind of weird, I was in Colorado, they have this water slide which is cut into, it's really the rocks, where the water goes down the rocks, and it goes pretty far, and you go on it like a waterfalls slide. And this woman, I don't know what country she was from, but she had her hair underneath her armpit braided, which was weird, I thought. I think that was the only thing that ever weirded me out about hair in general. But here, it's more accepted for girls to have long hair in different places and stuff like that. And again, this is like living in an age where proper body, dealing with the body in a proper way is not considered because it can't be done. Not for the price that they have as far as money, not the way they live either. So, the cars, you either got a new car or you got a super bomb. And you'll see people fixing the cars all day long if they have that kind of a yard where they'll be trying to fix their car. So we're living in, I call it almost caveman days, considering where we are technically right now. So when people say come to Hawaii, it's beautiful. Well, you don't go down the side streets. Don't look at the way they live in the side streets. You stay in a hotel, which is obviously a programmed idea of what beauty and happiness and pleasure is. You don't see the real life. You do what they tell you to do. Go down hang gliding or down bungee, sailing and hang gliding and all those kind of things. But you don't see the real world of Hawaii. Drive down side roads and go to the beaches in these side areas. I just went downtown. I had to go pick up liquid nitrogen. And there's only like one place in this whole side of the island I could get it. And it's like $90 for a canister of it. And it only lasts for like 5 days before it completely evaporates. But I went downtown. They said, come back in an hour, we'll fill the tank. So I went down to the beach, was right near it. And I saw thousands of tents set up where these people live. I mean, there's some areas where they let them live. Many areas where they don't. I mean, some people try to make homes in the middle of town and places like that. They won't let them. But some beaches, they won't let them either. I mean, you can rent $15 to stay on a beach for one night and all those things. But usually you got to pay for that kind of a thing. Some areas, like I said, they're letting these people, I don't even know what the rules are there. But right next to each other. One right next to each other. I mean, it's bad enough living in a house next to another house, but living in a tent next to another person in a tent. It's sad. It's really sad. You talk about being in some weird country. If I closed your eyes, spun you around, and let you walk down a street somewhere and say, okay, where are you? I bet you would never know. By looking at the people, the way they're living, you would say, well, I don't know, where am I? So the concept of what Hawaii is and to what it really is